This is Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel, bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com. And now here's your host, Steve Teel.
Steve Teel, Very Bold Radio and Podcast. Really excited to have Coach Tim Carter with us today. This is a repeat guest, not a rerun. This is a repeat guest. We haven't talked, though, in almost 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I had to look it up.
Wow.
It's been a while. So, well, let me tell the people a little bit about you. First of all, the winningest coach in UTSA basketball. If we had a studio audience, then people would be giving. Can you build that in later, some applause? No, I don't think so. Man, what I found, so I'm sorry if it's a little bit off and there's more wins, but was 160 wins at UTSA. Now, you can't always trust the internet. So, I don't know if that adds up in your mind, 160 or
I
if
think
it's
that's
more.
right.
Hopefully
I'm
that's
sure
right.
that's right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But you're also a head coach at Omaha and also at South Carolina State. I didn't add up all those wins, but how many years of coaching?
A total of 37 years total, and I believe it's 20 years as a head coach.
20 years.
Yeah. I think that's about right. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. All right, do you miss it? Do you miss that part?
I miss certain parts of it.
Yeah.
With the way the game is today,
Yeah.
a lot of it I don't miss.
Yeah.
But you always miss the relationships that you have with your guys.
Yeah.
People ask me, what do you miss? I miss the bus rides.
Really?
It's nuts. It's nuts that I would miss the bus rides.
Yeah.
I miss taking the soap out of the hotel. Taking bars of soap home.
I love it.
But no, it was a great 37 years and made a lot of friends and relationships. But you miss the competition.
Yeah.
There's a lot more going on today that I don't miss.
Yeah, well, we'll probably talk about that because, where we got to run into each other again, we were at Brandon Kroom's conference, the Special Ops Athletics Development Conference, and there was a panel, and you were on it and did a great job, by the way, and you addressed some of the things going on. I mean, it's crazy. It's the wild, wild west with the NIL and all of that. So we'll get to that. Yeah. We'll get to that in a little bit. I know you got some thoughts on that, but let me tell you, it is, to me, how many Division I basketball schools are there now? I know it climbs up a little bit. Something like, last I knew, 340, somewhere around there.
A little above 300, yes.
A little bit above 300. That's not too many head coaches in this nation. To me, 300, that's not many. You're a part of a small fraternity of people that got to be head basketball coach, Division I schools.
Mm-hmm.
That just amazes me. And I know it's changed a lot. So let me ask you this. If you were 22 years old, just graduating from KU, would you still go into college basketball? Would you get into it as a coach, knowing how things are so different now?
Great question. I got into coaching to help young people.
Yeah, okay.
And I would still do that.
Yeah.
And when I talk to coaches today that are really struggling with the NIL, the transfer portal, and some of them want to get out, and they always say, Coach, where can I go where I can make this kind of money?
Yeah.
And I always say the same thing. Why'd you get in coaching?
Yeah.
And for me, I got into coaching for, I thought, the right reasons to make an impact on young people. So to answer your question, I would do it again.
Yeah.
Probably a little smarter about some things, but I would do it again. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I want to ask you what you would do smarter or different, because I reached out to, for a few years, I was a youth pastor in New Braunfels, and I know a young man, he just graduated from Canyon High School out there, and he wants to get into college basketball coaching. Now, he, played basketball in high school. He's not going to be playing in college, but I believe his head basketball coach out there at Canyon, I think it might be Coach Flores out there. I think he already said, look, when you're done with college, come back.
Yeah.
But I think that Roman can go that path, but I think his dream is to go, college coaching. So I asked him to give me a few questions to ask you.
Gotcha.
Some advice. But let's start with, I'll get to Roman in a second. I'll get to his questions. But what would you do different? Like if you were starting now, I mean, how would you approach it different as you look back on your career?
If you're single, you
Yeah.
do the same thing that I did. You
Okay.
get in as best you can, work your way up.
Yeah.
You're going to move a lot.
Yeah.
Because you may be someplace 2 years at a lower level and have to move up. If you're married, whole different ballgame.
Okay.
If you're married, try to get you a really good Division II job, Division III job,
okay.
NAIA job, where you can put some roots down.
Yeah.
And you're not moving as much.
Yeah.
The pressure to win is not as heavy
Yeah.
at those levels.
Yeah.
And you can get someplace, as an example, when I left Northwestern,
Yeah.
I went to Nebraska Omaha. At that time was a Division II school, and my objective was go someplace that's close to my home. I lived in Wichita,
That's
4 or 5 hours away. A city I like living in,
Yeah.
and a place I could raise my family.
Yeah.
And I got lucky. I got the Nebraska Omaha job.
Wow.
And the only bad thing about it was I only stayed there a year when UTSA came calling. But if you're married, try to get you a good Division II job, put some roots down, grow a family. If you're a single guy, I'd even get an NBA.
Okay.
The NBA's looking for young guys. And if you're single and you're young, go to the NBA as an intern and work your way up.
Wow. Wow.
You're not going to make much money initially,
Yeah.
but at least you can get in. NBA is probably the way to go because they've got so many opportunities for young people.
Okay. Why do you think they're looking for young people? I mean, I feel like the NBA would have tons of people wanting to work there. Like, why do you think the NBA is looking for young people?
You know, a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I hope I'm not speaking out of pocket, I think Coach Popovich started a trend of bringing in young people.
Okay.
And they bring them in as interns. As an example, if I remember this correctly, the current president of the Oklahoma City Thunder started with the Spurs.
Yeah.
Sam Presti.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, he was around when they won the first championship, and he was very involved with helping Avery Johnson off the floor as kind of an intern.
Wow.
Monty Johnson was the same way. Monty was behind the bench. Matter of fact, I got a phone call asking me if I could bring Monty in as a graduate assistant at UTSA.
Whoa.
And, you got to go to school. Well, he wasn't interested in going to school because he had just retired from the NBA.
Okay.
And we didn't have any GA spots until the Spurs put him behind the bench. 2 years later, he's on the bench of the Portland Trail Blazers. But if you can start as a young guy or young lady in the NBA as an intern, you're not going to make much money. But when you get in, you're in.
Wow.
College basketball is very difficult.
Okay.
Very difficult to get in. It's more who you know, who you know.
Okay.
And you're going to move a lot, college basketball,
Okay.
especially trying to move up the ladder as a Division I assistant coach. You're going to move a lot.
Right. When you took that job at Omaha, I mean, how did it happen that UTSA came calling? Like you were there a year. You probably thought you were going to be there for 10 years or more, raising your family and everything. And then UTSA just reached out, or I mean, how'd that happen?
That's a great question. Great question. 4 years before, I had interviewed for the head job at UTSA with Bobby Thompson, the AD.
Okay.
And I met him in Denver. He told me straight up, Tim, I've heard a lot about you. I want to meet you. I can't hire you. I need to hire a current head coach because he had just left. Ken Burmeister had just got let go, and he wanted an experienced coach. He said, but I wanted to meet you. Well, little did I know, he had been the AD at Nebraska Omaha.
Wow.
I go to Nebraska Omaha for 1 year, and we did a great job in that 1 year. And little did I know, my last 2 home games were almost sellouts. Bobby Thompson was in the building.
No way.
This is 5 years later.
Yeah.
He was looking for a new coach, and he came to Omaha, watched 2 of my games, and then he calls my AD up and asked for my AD permission to talk to me. I had no intentions of leaving Omaha. As a matter of fact, I told my AD, the only way I'm interested in UTSA, if they can guarantee me, I'm in the top 2. I'm listening to the phone call. He's got Bobby Thompson on speaker, I'm listening to it. He says, you can tell Tim he's in the top 2. And so I come down, interview for the job, and I knew when I got here, I could tell he wanted to hire me.
Really?
Yeah, I could tell up front he wanted to hire me, and that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah. And
it was 11 good years.
Yeah. Well, was it a hard decision for you at that point to make that jump?
No.
Okay.
It was my wife. Omaha was cold.
Yeah.
And now my daughter, I'll never forget this. The day I got offered the job, I drove into my driveway. My daughter walks up to my car. She looks at me and she says, Daddy, can't you just say no? Because, she had just got there, developed some friends, and, she's about 12, 13 years old, and her whole deal was her friends. But I had no intentions of leaving Omaha.
Yeah.
I was happy. We were going to do a good job there. And believe it or not, my current assistant, my former assistant, is now the head coach at Omaha.
That's crazy.
And he took him to the tournament last year.
Yeah, he did.
But I loved being in Omaha, and the people there were great to me. I mean, I tell people a lot of people in a lot of ways, if Omaha was the way it is now, then I would have never left.
Wow.
Because Omaha has really got it going on now. Great facilities, and they operate like a really good mid-major program. It's a great town. And I'm glad that my assistant is doing a great job.
That's awesome. That's great. All right. I'm going to hit some of Roman's questions here, just some advice. So he texted me. I asked him yesterday for some questions. He texted me 2:33 a.m.
Ooh.
He got called into work. Roman said this. Number 1, what's something you know now that you wish you knew when you started coaching? Now, you've kind of already answered some of that, but maybe there's something else. What's something you know now that you wish you knew when you started coaching? Is there some more than you've already answered?
I wished I would have taken opportunities that I walked away from.
Oh boy, we got exclusive right here.
Yeah, I was sometimes God will place somebody in your life that you may not recognize this person is there to open a door for you. And there were 3 high major head coaches that offered me jobs as an assistant, and I turned them down because I was here at UTSA, and I said, if God is going to open a door, he'll open that door from my spot here at UTSA versus going to this high-profile head coach's position where I'll give an example. Yeah. I won't say their names.
Okay, all right.
Back in the day, if you worked for Dean Smith, Bobby Knight, if you were an assistant coach, you were getting a job.
Right.
Well, I really felt like that God can open any door.
True.
So why would I go work for some of these guys? What I didn't realize was that by working for some of those guys, God was putting me in a position, even though I had been a head coach here at UTSA, I'd gone to one NCAA tournament, I'd probably done as much as I could do here.
Okay.
And by going to work for a high, big-time profile head coach, I probably would have got a higher profile head job being under one of those guys than staying as a head coach at UTSA. But I had a great run here.
Yeah.
We won a lot of games, and we went to another NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But there's a saying, get to know rising stars.
Yeah.
Because those are the guys that are going to get the jobs in the future. And those high major, big-time head coaches, get to know those guys because those are the guys that are going to be able to help you a lot quicker. That would be my answer.
That's good. Okay.
Hope that made sense.
It did make sense. I'm going to follow up by asking this. Like, how do you identify those rising star coaches? Like, you know all these coaches. So when you see a young coach, what is it that you're seeing like that's a rising star? I mean, what characteristics do you see?
What I really meant, what I really was trying to say was, if you're a young guy, a high school coach, or a small college coach, and you're trying to get in Division I basketball, A rising star is a high-profile assistant coach
Okay.
who's going to get a job.
Yeah.
If you work for Tom Izzo, if you work for Mike Krzyzewski, if you work for Bill Self, if you work for one of those guys as an assistant coach, those guys are going to get jobs.
Yeah.
They're going to get head coaching jobs. Get to know those assistant coaches, because if you get to know them, when they start looking for assistant coaches, hey, I remember Steve Teel. He was a great guy. He was conscientious. He was where he was supposed to be. Call you up, Steve. Hey, I'm interested in maybe hiring you.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, it's not who you know, it's who knows you that counts.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Hope that made sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right. His next question is, what's one reality check if you choose to get into coaching? What's one reality check? You've talked about moving around. You've talked about the pressure of Division I. Is there something else for you that stands out as, you better know this if you're going to get into coaching, a reality check?
Boy, I'm sitting up in the stands in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Watching the AAU tournament, and I had worked for Billy Tubbs as a GA.
That's right.
Sitting, Billy's we're sitting together. I said, Billy, I just want you to know I really, really appreciate it. You let me work for you, and I learned a lot from you. And what he said to me, I've told so many young assistants.
Yeah.
If you're going to stay in this business, a lot of us know what to do. Learn what not to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you won't be in this business long enough to make all of them. So if you see a guy that's being harsh with his players and his players are turning him off, be careful. But learn what not to do.
Yeah.
Ask a lot of questions. What were some mistakes you made as a head coach or an assistant coach that you wouldn't make again? And I'd say that. I'd say learn what not to do.
Yeah. What are some things, you're working with a lot of coaches, this is my question, not Roman's, but that you see like, he shouldn't be doing that. Like that's a lesson what not to do. Not calling anybody out, but just you're seeing like, man, that's just the wrong approach. Can
Talking
you think
too
anything?
much.
I'm talking too much.
Talking way too much. If you're an assistant coach and you're around a bunch of head coaches, keep your mouth shut and listen. Talking too much, not being where you're supposed to be on the road. Go watch games play. Go to your hotel. Don't be places where you shouldn't be. Somebody walks in there, somebody sees you walk in a place, and I'm not hiring that guy. I mean, he's places where he shouldn't be. But so be where you're supposed to be. Yeah. Be mindful of what you say and who you say it around.
Yeah.
Because coaches talk. It's a small fraternity.
Yeah.
And but I'd say just be careful where you go, who you talk to, and don't talk. Just listen a lot.
Yeah, listen a
lot. Listen a lot.
That's good. All right. I got a question, not one of Roman's questions, just about, you talked about in the business off air, I think we talked about that it's hard for coaches to trust people.
Oh, yeah.
And can you just talk about that a little bit? I mean, when you were coaching for all those years, like how did you identify this guy I can really trust? This guy, I can share my heart. He's not trying to just get something from me. What do you think?
When I said coaches are paranoid earlier, you've got to be so careful who's in your camp.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of coaches hire their former players.
Yeah.
Because they know the guy. UTSA right now just hired one of my former players, David President. He's a new assistant coach.
Okay.
I don't know if the new coach knows David, but as an example, I've hired 2 or 3 of my former players to be my assistants. So coaches are paranoid. When you come around a coach, everybody wants something.
Yeah.
Everybody wants something.
Yeah.
And so as a head coach, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, what's this person really want?
Yeah.
Nations of coaches, we don't want anything from you. We want to serve you.
Yeah.
And so I'd venture to say, because coaches, the media,
Yeah.
You don't know what somebody might be saying behind the scenes. Everybody's got a podcast now.
Right.
And you want to shape your own picture. And so you want people around you that believe in you, that trust you, that you trust them, that you know that their interest is making you look good and making the program not look good and not pushing themselves up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, we're going to talk about Nations of Coaches in just a minute. I'll go his last question, and then we'll talk about Nations of Coaches and all that you're doing there. His last question, is it realistic to go from high school ball to college ball for a coach? So let's say he goes through and he's a high school coach for some years. Is that realistic?
I did it. I was an assistant at the high school level many, many years ago.
Okay.
It's difficult now because if you're a high school coach, you're not in the circles of those assistant coaches and those head coaches because you're a high school coach.
Yeah.
You're not going to the AAU tournaments. You're not going on recruiting. You're not out recruiting.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more difficult if you're a high school coach to get in than, let's say, to come in as a GA straight out of college.
Yeah.
And if you're making money,
Yeah.
and you got bills, more than likely you're going to come in at the lower level. So
That's
your
right.
chances of you taking a lower level job and you've got $50,000 in debt,
Right.
or you're married, that may be a lot more difficult to come in at the collegiate level. But really, it's the same old thing. It's who the head coach knows,
Okay.
who he trusts.
Okay.
If you're a great high school coach, David President, my former player,
Yeah.
was a high school coach in Houston.
Okay.
But he had really good players,
Yeah.
and the head coach at UTSA got to know him. David gets a job.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
But David had a connection with UTSA.
Right. Okay.
But it's hard. It's
Yeah.
very hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's talk about Nations of Coaches. We got to talk about it 3.5 years ago. You've been with Nations of Coaches how long now?
It'll be 4 years in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. When we talked, I mean, you had already got a bunch of things going on with different coaches and character coaches. Describe for somebody who didn't hear our interview the first time, what is Nations of Coaches? What do y'all do?
I was wrong. It'll be 5 years.
It'll be
in
5
October.
years. Yeah. Okay.
The Nations of Coaches is a Christian-based organization that serves strictly college basketball on the men and women's side. We're on the women's side now.
Okay.
And what we do is that we're behind the scenes and we're providing character coaches for the head coach and his team.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we do.
Yeah.
We provide marriage counseling for
Wow.
coaches and their wives.
Yeah.
In a lot of situations, we will provide financial aid for a coach who may have gotten fired.
Oh, man. Okay.
Our CEO, Tommy Kyle, does a tremendous job raising money.
Wow.
And we have a number of major sponsors around the country who love what we're doing.
Wow.
As an example, we're at every Final Four now. We put on the majority of the ministry events at the men's Final Four.
Yeah.
But we primarily serve college basketball with character coaches behind the scenes. And most people might think, well, are you talking about a chaplain? We don't call our guys chaplains and our ladies chaplains because, church and state.
Yeah.
We call them character coaches.
Yeah.
And 90% of our character coaches are former pastors and ministers.
Is that right?
Because a pastor understands how to serve,
Yeah.
and they understand confidentiality.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hear some stuff sometimes. You're going to see some things sometimes in practice that needs to stay in practice.
Yeah.
You're going to have players come up to you sometime and share things with you that are very, very personal. And that person has to understand confidentiality.
Gotcha.
And we train our character coaches to go through and understand you're serving, you're not asking for anything.
Yeah.
At the higher levels, at the Power Four levels, we have character coaches who travel with the teams.
Wow.
At every practice. Because 85% of our character coaches are volunteers, at the Power Four level, those head coaches love them so much, they may say, Steve Teel, we want you to be our character coach. You're going to be at every practice.
Yeah.
You're going to travel with the team, and they're going to make sure you get paid.
Wow.
I'm not talking about you get paid. But that's at the higher levels because they see the importance of having a character coach around their players. We don't shove Christianity down their throat.
Yeah.
But if a young person wants to know about the Lord, that person can do it.
Yeah.
Here in San Antonio, every school in San Antonio had a character coach, with the exception of one. I won't say what school it is. With the exception of one, and when they get a new coach in, now I have to go back in there and develop a relationship with that new coach. Why? Yeah. Coaches are paranoid.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
until they realize that you're there to serve them and you're there to put somebody there behind the scenes to help them, they're going to be a little bit cautious about you.
Sure.
But it's a wonderful organization, and we don't ask, we give.
Yeah.
All we want to do is serve.
Yeah.
And as an example, when I leave you today, I'm going to go to one of the schools today to visit one of our coaches who has a character coach, and just let him know, hey, I know the character coach is serving you, but if I can do anything to help, I want to do that. Brandon Crooms, he serves as the character coach at Trinity.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now Brandon has a new head coach.
Oh,
so we've got to start that process all over again to see if that head coach wants to keep Brandon as the character coach.
Right.
Hopefully he will.
Right. I gotcha. All right. Talk to me about some of the success stories. And I know there's confidentiality, but when you hear from some of these character coaches, keep it general enough that they're impacting these students, impacting the coaches. What are the sort of the stories that you kind of hear from them out in the field or out in the gym?
Young man and his girlfriend are pregnant.
Yeah.
He's not married.
Yeah.
He comes to the character coach. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I don't have any money. And they're thinking about having an abortion. And he got with the young lady and the young man and prayed with them, stayed with them. And today, that young person, they're married now with 2 children.
Oh, my
And the
gosh.
oldest one is 12 years old.
Wow.
And that's a story that the nations of coaches.
Yeah.
Wow. That's on our website. And that's a great testimony of what our character coach did to help that couple get through what they went through.
Yeah.
And they chose to keep the child. And that young person is, I think, 12 or 13 years old today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
that
success
is a
story.
Great success story.
And if you've got a character coach who is trusted that much, that they can sow into a person's life to convince them that an unborn child should be born, that's huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
That's huge. That's huge.
All right. Talk to me about things you hear from like head coaches. Let's say you got a brand new head coach, and so you go in there and they're not familiar with nations of coaches. You got to convince them, I'm not here to get something. I'm offering something. What does that conversation usually look like? I mean, what are you telling them?
I'll come in and I will let them know that this person is not going to be preaching to your team every day. This person may come to your practice and just sit there. Initially, you introduce the character coach to your team, let them get to know your team and your staff. And what most head coaches don't realize is that they think the character coach is for the team. The character coach is for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we can sow into him,
the
impact that he will make by opening doors to his team is huge. Great example. We had a powerful coach come to us about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
He'd heard about nations of coaches. He said, I want a character coach. I don't want all that Jesus stuff.
Yeah.
We got him a character coach. Within a year, he saw some very positive things happen with his team, and he asked the character coach, what are you doing with my team? He told him what he was doing. He's having character moments with them.
Yeah.
They were having Bible studies, probably once a week. Well, the head coach, his wife got sick. And he asked the character coach, can you come pray with my wife? Now, he wasn't a Christian. Can you come pray with my wife? And so he went and prayed with his wife.
Wow.
And she was healed. And, he kind of thought the character coach healed her. But
I mean, she got healed?
She got healed. She was going through something really bad. She got healed.
Oh, come on. I love those miracles.
Completely changed the head coach's perspective. He says, you know what? I want that Jesus.
Yeah.
And so the character coach prays with the head coach. He accepts Christ.
Wow.
And that character coach was at a Power 5 school, Power 4 school. He wanted that character coach around him so much that every trip, if they want a charter flight, out of his own pocket, he made sure that he was paid for, so that there wouldn't be any issues with the church and state, the separation.
Right.
And he made a great impact on that young person. that head coach's life to the point where he accepted Christ, and now his entire family is saved.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
But we're there to serve. We don't want anything. We just want to serve.
Yeah.
And the head coaches love it. Whatever door that head coach opens, we may have character coaches who come to practice, pray before practice, pray after a game, and that might be all that the head coach lets him do up front.
Yeah.
Until he gets to know him.
Yeah.
And I just came back from Maryland.
Yeah, you did.
And I told the character coaches, we put 2 in one school. I said, hey guys, it may take you a year, but after a year, those guys are going to be calling you. Yeah. They're going to want you on the bench. Hey, are you going to, head coach may put you on the bench sometimes.
Right.
But it may take you a year, but after that year is over, man, those guys are going to want you around. Yeah. It's a great ministry.
Man, that is great. Yeah. That is awesome. All right, tell us just some of the numbers. I mean, you've got Texas, but you're over there in Maryland, not known usually as a region.
Yeah.
And you're getting character coaches in there. That's amazing. How's it going in Texas and other places apparently? Because you got the Omaha guy too. I mean,
we let me say this. In my almost 5 years with Nations of Coaches, I've played 65 character coaches.
Oh, my gosh.
And so even though Texas is my region, got character coaches in Kansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas. Because in my 37 years of coaching, I've got coaching friends.
Yeah.
And they hear what we're doing. Hey, Coach, can you come up and talk to us about Nations of Coaches? My hometown of Wichita, we've got character coaches at Wichita State, at Newman University, Fringe University. Kansas University has a character coach. K-State will be getting one, I'm pretty sure, in the near future.
Okay.
But I had to slow down. I was doing too much.
I would think so, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's great to be able to travel and help coaches.
Yeah.
And I don't go to as many games because I see too many games.
Yeah.
If I can come in and visit with the head coach, visit with the character coach, I'm getting out and I'm going home.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Man, well, what an impact you're making. That's incredible, Coach. I
love it.
You just keep going.
I love it.
Just keep going.
I love it.
All right, let me shift. We got a few minutes left. I want to hear your marriage advice. You've been married how long did you say?
It'll be 45 years in August.
Congratulations.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Y'all celebrating 45?
We're going to do something.
We're going to do something.
I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do something.
How hard is it, and I know she's not here to give advice, but to be a coach's wife? I mean, she must be a pretty amazing woman, I'm guessing.
Amazing is an understatement because before we came back to San Antonio, we'd been married for 33 years. When we came back, we'd moved 13 times.
Whoa.
And so special lady is an understatement.
Yeah.
We spent 11 years at UTSA, the longest we spent any place. And there were times when she would say to me when we were coming up the ladder, "Isn't it time to move?" Most wives are not like that.
That's true.
They want to put some roots down, want the kids to have friends. But after about 4 years, it was like, "Isn't it time to move?"
Yeah.
Because she was so used to it.
Yeah.
But you would have thought we were in the military. We moved so much.
Right.
But when I look back on it,
Yeah.
my kids, they adjusted very well.
Okay.
We have friends all over the country. But she's special, has to be special.
Yeah.
A coach's wife is a special, special lady because, many times they're raising the family.
Yeah.
Coaches are gone. Now, guys are gone a lot more now than when I was out.
Okay.
But a lot of times they're raising the family because the head coach, the coaches are recruiting, they're gone for games.
Right.
It can be tough.
Yeah.
It can be tough. And a lot of marriages don't make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would your advice be? You got, let's say, 24-year-old GA or someone and they're getting married. What advice would you give to a young married coach? How to make it work?
Get a mentor.
Get a mentor.
Get a mentor. Somebody, as I say, somebody who's called a timeout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a mentor, someone who's walked in the pathway that you're about to go in, because it is not going to be easy. You're going to move a lot. And she has to understand that this is what you've chosen to do. And as much as her job or her responsibilities are important too, if this is what she wants to do and she's on board with you, you're going to move a lot.
Yeah.
And understand that. But advice, be open to moving. Make sure your kids are really locked into their school. Be at every function you can be at with your kids.
Yeah.
Be there to support your wife because they're going to be there to support you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it can be rough.
Yeah.
It can be rough. It can be rough.
Well, 45 years later, man.
Oh, man.
45 years.
It wasn't all peaches and cream now. But my wife did an unbelievable job.
Yeah.
Of taking care of our home.
Yeah.
Our first few years we homeschooled.
Yeah.
And so that was a blessing.
Wow. Yeah.
But a lot of people can't do that.
Right.
And so, but she did a wonderful job with our family. Still doing a wonderful job. I mean, our kids are grown now. And so we try to enjoy each other now and travel a lot.
Okay, that's good. Where y'all like to travel? Where you
Jazz
been?
Cruises.
Yeah, there
cruises.
It is. There it is.
Yeah, we love jazz cruises, and love visiting people. We went to Greece a year ago.
Wow.
Going to Athens. We're going to South America next year.
Okay.
Went down to the Caribbean, but we do jazz cruises because we both like music.
Okay. Yeah. I know last time we talked about Wayman Tisdale and him being a great jazz musician, and you, of course, worked with him at OU. But I didn't know you were a jazz fan like that. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. And, I didn't realize that Wayman was as good of a musician as he was that 1 year I was with him at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the smooth jazz cruises, which I'm not promoting, I'm not on here promoting it, even though I love it. He was the host for 5 or 6 years.
What?
On the smooth jazz cruises.
Man.
It's one cruise called the Smooth Jazz Cruise, and he was a host for 5 or 6 years before he got sick. He was the main guy.
My gosh.
And they're always doing tributes to him on the jazz cruises, on Dave Kaz's cruise.
Yeah.
And the Smooth Jazz Cruises. They're always, because he made a great impact.
Man.
And just a wonderful guy. Boy.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy.
Yeah, for sure. When you were coaching, did you have time for jazz? Nope.
Nope.
You didn't have time for much of anything.
No. Because the jazz cruises were always during the season.
Oh, okay.
And the only time we could really go on cruises were we went on cruises. They were in the summertime.
Yeah.
But no, I couldn't get away, and I'm ticked off because I couldn't. I went on a lot of cruises that I thought I just spent a lot of money I shouldn't have spent.
Yeah.
Because they weren't very good compared to the jazz crews.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're not even going to get into NIL and the Wild Wild West. We're going to close down in just a minute here, but I have one more advice question for you to give, just for a young Christian coach, assistant coach, let's say, working his way up. And your faith, I don't know what the numbers are. I'm so glad you guys, Nations of Coaches, are in there and helping these coaches. But, man, how do you stay a strong Christian or become a strong Christian when this business can be all-consuming? I mean, you're chasing high school kids all over and transfer portal kids and all these other things. How do you keep your faith in Jesus? Were you able to do that? Keep him first?
Absolutely.
How'd you do it?
I surrounded myself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And when I got in, I was a Christian when I got in.
Yeah.
And so I knew it was important to be around like-minded people. I would tell any young Christian coach, find a group, lock into them. There are a lot of Christian coaches. And Nations of Coaches, we have groups of guys, and we really have a great organization for the ladies.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, the coaches' wives, they have their group that they get together, have Bible studies all over the country, Zoom Bible studies.
Yeah.
We do that with the guys, but find a mentor, someone who has. I keep saying the term called a timeout. Yeah. Someone who's been through what you're about to go through.
Yeah.
And really lock in to people who are going through what you're going through, because you're going to go through the same thing. You're going to move a lot. Head coaches are going to get ticked off at you. Players are going to say things to you that you don't want to hear.
Yeah. And
how do you handle that?
Yeah.
And the way you handle those things are about being around people who've been through those things who can help you.
Yeah.
Because it ain't all peaches and cream.
Yeah.
A lot of times people see you on TV and they think that's great.
Right.
They don't see you getting up at 4 a.m, catching a flight, going someplace, and being away from your family, and eating in a corner restaurant where the food might not be good.
Yeah.
You know, that all they see is the glory stuff.
Yeah.
But get into coaching for the right reasons, and you'll stay in for a long time.
Yeah.
If you get into coaching just for the money, you're not going to be in there long.
Yeah.
Because your heart's not going to be in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're going to go through some stuff.
Oh, my goodness. You're going to go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's great. Hey, if somebody wants to be on your team, just supporting you and saying, man, this is an important impact, where can they go? They go to the website, nationsofcoaches.com. Find you and just give a little support. So I think I found you, nationsofcoaches.com. There's a who we are, or there's a staff, and it's a good-sized staff, but you'll find Coach Carter there, and you can support him. Make sure he's going all these places. He's going past Texas. He's all over the place. That's crazy how many character coaches you place. Way to go. That's amazing. I mean, you just think about the impact that you're making by all these different character coaches. They're impacting the coaches. They're impacting the players. Mm-hmm. That's impacting marriages. That's impacting kids. That's amazing. So just thank you for your faithfulness to this call. If somebody is interested and didn't catch that information, you can email me, steve@verybold.com, steve@verybold.com. I'll send you the link. I'll get you in contact with Coach Carter. Please be praying for him and be praying for this ministry. Prayer matters. Prayer matters. So please be praying for Coach Tim Carter. He's still traveling a bunch. Be praying for him and the impact and the people that God leads you to call and invite to be a part of being a character coach. So any last thing you just want to say before we sign off for the day?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's great to see you again.
It's great seeing you again.
The Nations of Coaches is making a tremendous impact in college basketball, and I love what I'm doing. And I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk about the nations of coaches.
Oh, yeah. Man. No, I appreciate you. Thank you for making time, coming here. And, we just love to hear about people making a difference in the kingdom. I'm a sports guy, so I love that you're making that impact in college basketball. And it's just so important. So great job, man. Still racking up those wins. I want to remind you what Coach Carter's doing. He's being very bold. Being very bold comes from your faith in Jesus and knowing that Jesus, he loves you. I mean, he died for you. He came to this earth to show you what the Father's really like and to invite you into relationship. It is not about cruise control Christianity. Man, those days got to be put in the past. It is about getting in the fight, understanding these days, it's the wild, wild west in a lot of ways. I mean, the enemy is up to no good. And we've got to be engaged. We've got to be in the fight. That's what Nations of Coaches is doing. They're like, all right, here's our mission field. Here's our impact point. And they're doing a great job. What is your impact point? Like, who has God brought into your life to make a difference? Like, what is God calling you to do? I just got to invite you, even today, just to pray and say, okay, Jesus, am I on the right track? Where do I need to be? He's putting people in your path, but maybe there's a specific ministry. I don't know. I'm just going to ask you to pray and talk to Jesus about it. But Coach Carter, Tim Carter's being very bold. The Apostle Paul was very bold. You talk about some hard days and some hard travel. The Apostle Paul, he just kept going because he knew the amazing love of Jesus Christ, and he knows the hope of Jesus Christ, and you know it too. We got to share it with others. So I'll sign off with this. Remember, Steve at verybold.com. We are very bold right out of 2 Corinthians 3:12. The Apostle Paul said it this way, therefore, since we have such a hope, we are very bold.
Very Bold Radio and Podcast with your host, Steve Teel, bringing encouragement through God's Word and through inspiring interviews. Go to verybold.com for information and updates, and email steve@verybold.com.